Running a handheld company, a retro gaming handheld company, a Chinese retro handheld gaming company must be quite difficult. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And we over here in America and rest of the world, and even consumers within China, we get to enjoy these amazing little machines at very little price when you think about all the effort and work that went into it. And then we criticize it. Powkiddy has had a weird year. They have launched an OS on one handheld, which we've never seen again since then. They've launched handhelds without Wi-Fi that should have had them. They went through a brief shutdown, and we don't know what the future of Powkiddy is. So today, I want to talk about Powkiddy, which is fitting since 2 years ago when I launched this channel. One of our very first videos was on the RGB 10 Max 3 Pro, showing that it could play Gamecube at $100, which was pretty remarkable for 2 years ago. Anyways, remember to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode of our content. But let's hop in and talk about Powkiddy, my love for them, my hate for them, my hope for them that they continue on.
Is this too far gone?
At Deadfred's, we offer services to even the baldest of eagles.
As you can see, our starting price is only $4.99.
That's a great deal.
So give us a try and book your appointment today.
For nearly the last 2 years, in fact, next month we'll be celebrating our 2-year anniversary for Retro Gaming with Deadfred. I have reviewed many different handhelds, as you can see on my wall over here, the ones that I've kept. But I have given away, sold, traded many more. But today I want to talk about an open love letter to one company that I am not sure what's going on with that company, but I really hope they're okay. And I want them to know that I need them to continue because they have over time produced some of my favorite handhelds. Now, you might be thinking of the popular ones like Anbernic, Ioneo, Retroid. No, I'm talking about the great Powkiddy. That's right, Powkiddy, which I think was the brunt of jokes for many years in the e-waste community. But now looking back, going backwards 2 years and looking at all of the videos and everything I've done over the last 2 years, it's become apparent that Powkiddy actually made some pretty good devices. Devices like this little guy right here, which has the perfect screen at a 3:2 ratio for your Game Boy Advance and is nice and small and pocketable enough. Or the famous V90 and the new V90S, which has been brought out and updated and gave us actually pretty much what Anbernic released a year earlier. But the ones that really captured my heart, the one that really got this started, that really made me pay attention to Powkiddy, is the venerable RGB 30 with its unique one-to-one screen. If we go all the way back to when this was released nearly 3 years ago, it was unimaginable to use a one-to-one aspect ratio. It was like weird. What are they doing? Why are they doing this? And the RGB 30 came out and surprised many people and had very favorable reviews using the one-to-one screen. It was very amazing because nobody expected that screen ratio, which really wasn't a ratio ever used in retro gaming, except for something like a Pico 8, was actually great in a lot of ways for retro gaming. And so we discovered the loveliness of a 4-inch one-to-one aspect ratio that really surprised everybody. Now, if you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you know how much I love metal. So when I got the opportunity to get a metal version of the RGB 30, I jumped on it. And since then, Powkiddy took the horizontal format and they brought us yet another innovation. They brought that screen to vertical with the 20SX. Now, since then, there have been maybe 9 or 10 clones of these, including the really good R36S Plus. But going back and picking this thing up and playing this, I was reminded just how much better this really is. Yeah, sure, it costs more than the R36S Plus did, but we have built-in Wi-Fi, a better CPU in the Rockchip 3566, and just a build quality that feels good. The biggest criticisms are these shoulder buttons, which of course stuck out a little bit, but there's some mods out there. Go check out Aiden Wells' video where he, worked on this and got this to have a nice flat back. You can do things like that to make it, more interesting for it. But I just wanted to talk about Powkiddy because over the last few months, they've been very quiet and there's been a lot of rumors about what's going on with them. And I did a little digging to try to put together a little bit of information that has come to my mind. So let's take a look at sort of the history of Powkiddy and then take a look at what they're facing and why they might be in danger. Hey, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, AliExpress, and the Unihertz Luna phone. This is a smartphone that features the Helio G99. It is a CPU that we've seen in various devices like Ioneo's Pocket Micro and the awesome Unicorn. The G99 is a very capable CPU for emulation, which can do most GameCube and plenty of PS2, making it a versatile and yet very cost-effective form. This nice handheld also features nice brightly lit illumination on the back, showcasing the awesome lighting sequences. It also includes a 6.81-inch full HD screen running Android 12 and a 108 megapixel AI main camera. Again, the star of the show for this handheld is the Helio G99, and right now you can get this handheld for right at $100. That's right, pair this up with a telescopic controller and you have yourself a nice little $100 gaming beast. Something that is going to compete and probably do just a little bit better than the Snapdragon 662 that's coming. Anyways, hit the link in the description if you're interested in this phone. We want to thank AliExpress for being our partner. And back to the show. Okay, so let's start with earlier this year. So there have been persistent rumors and information about certain entities cracking down in China on what we have known for a long time has been very lax copyright IP protection for Chinese goods. And so it seems that the SNK guys at some point might have went after a few companies, including Powkiddy. Now, it's very hard to know what information is correct and true, so I'm not going to get into stating facts because all of this stuff is actually just rumor at this point. However, it does seem to be tied to the fact that Powkiddy, which had leaked plans for quite a few more handhelds, suddenly kind of quit doing that. One of the biggest sources that, gladly released information didn't have any new information. And so it really looked like maybe these raids, as they were rumored, had actually happened. We do know that there has been a couple of changes with the company's attitudes towards Linux-based handhelds. And we're told that the only handhelds going forward from Powkiddy are going to be Android, which I hope is not correct because Linux is still got a place and we need Linux for simple console-like plug and play. So the last thing was they released the V90S in May. And that was a great handheld, is a great handheld. Go check out my review on it. I gave it a very favorable review. I like this handheld quite a bit. I think it's at a great price. And it matches in every way the Ambernick offering of a year earlier with the 35. So I think it's good. However, a lot of people have been expecting some really cool stuff from them, including their follow-up to their RGB 10 Max line. The last we saw, which is the 3 and 3 Pro. So the 4 was supposed to come out. We've heard zero about it. And then in the middle of the summer this year, they just suddenly closed shop for a month. They stopped taking orders. They removed a lot of items that were for sale. And over in the Chinese forums, it ran rampant with information that Powkiddy was gone. However, I'm not so sure about that because they came back. They said they were just on vacation having a meeting and that they're back selling. And you can go now and buy them. In fact, they still have like the brick hammer, which a lot of people were able to get a little easier directly through them rather than third-party sellers. So it looks like Powkiddy is still operating. But what are we getting with Powkiddy? It's unknown. There have been no leaks in months. We don't know what they're doing. They haven't released a handheld in 4 months. And while we got used to them releasing all the time, perhaps they just adjusted their setting rate. Maybe they're just getting to a little less. Maybe they invested too much. It's kind of hard to know. The other thing is there was somewhat of a Powkiddy support group on Facebook, and that group has gone to crap. I will not show any of the images, but I don't know what happened, but nobody's moderating it. Nobody's keeping task of it. It's suddenly just terrible, and I had to leave it. So there's just a lot of indicators here, but I don't want to focus on that. I want to just talk about how great Powkiddy has been and how maybe we as a community have underappreciated them. Again, let's talk about a couple of these handhelds like this one. So as I show you some footage from our previous reviews, this particular one is actually a third-party rebrand, but this handheld right here gives a beautiful screen. It has nice buttons on it. It feels good. I really like this colorway, and it's great for pocketable GBA. Although there's many other options better now, you can still find this thing at sometimes at $30 to $35, which makes it a great, great bargain. Or if you want the flip here, while not quite as great for GBA, great for many other things since it's a 4:3 screen. And some people actually prefer a 4:3 screen for GBA since you can have the little banner down there. And the V90S and the V90 before are both great handhelds. They're still great handhelds. Now, as far as flips go, you might want sticks. You might want the 3566 from the Miu, but this is just a fantastic handheld. And then we get into the vertical 4-inch. Now, I've reviewed a ton of these. I've got more coming of these, but I realize this is the GOAT. If you really want a 4-inch vertical 720p 1:1 aspect ratio handheld, the RGB20 SX is where it's at. It's just where it's at. This is a great handheld. I know that people are probably thinking, it just saves some money, but I would say get this. And then still, one of my favorites. I picked this thing up and I remember how much I like this. And while this was super popular a couple years ago, it's hard to find now, but it's still for sale out there. The RGB30 is still a great one. Now, I don't know if you'll find a metal one like I have. Those are way more rare, but it's a great handheld to play with. There are many other Powkiddy iterations. The RGB 10 Max 3 Pro, which has the only handheld that has that unique CPU that it had, has been $100 capable of playing some PS2 handheld for quite a while, which is really unfortunate because it didn't get the support it needed. Then you had the non-pro version, which was a very capable 3566, and it also too did well. I myself didn't like it too much, and now looking back at it, it really wasn't that bad. Powkiddy has really made a place here. I don't think many of us appreciate how much Powkiddy has influenced our hobby with some of the things that they've done, some of the risks they've taken, which has eventually been done by others. And let's not forget that the RGB20, the one that went on TikTok and just got everybody new into this hobby, was a knockoff of Ambernix, but it was a Powkiddy. And so, there's just a lot here to like and everything. So I want to hear your feedback. Are you worried about Powkiddy? Do you think Powkiddy is suddenly going to disappear and go into the night? What have you heard? Leave me some information about it. We know the facts. The only facts we know, they closed for a month. They opened up. Say everything's gone, good. Some of the stuff's gone. And it looks like we're being told that only new Android handhelds are going to come. But who knows if that's accurate. Now, there's always been Trim UI, their subsidiary or close companion or friend of Powkiddy, as they call it, or whatever, which is still going strong. But I hope Powkiddy continues. I hope Powkiddy has not disappeared into the night. I hope that we continue to get some handhelds from them. There's a lot of young guns coming. Meng Mai is out there. XU is out there about to just disrupt with their new Dream series. There's just a lot of competition. You've got Magic X, but Powkiddy, I please hope you're okay. Keep bringing us that unique, quirky stuff. Keep trying. I want to see it. I'm a big fan. Hope that Powkiddy's okay. Anyways, guys, remember to hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss an episode of this content, and love the ones you hug and hug the ones you love. We'll see you next time. Deadfred out.